Welcome to week 5 of 60 books in 60 days. If you are new here and you don't know what this is, I am attempting to read one book a day every day for the next 2 months in an attempt to get my physical TBR down. This is a spoiler-free reading vlog. If you would like to see the other videos in the series, especially if you're new, after you watch this one, you could go down below. There is a playlist link below. You can binge them all. If you're new again, you could go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any point of this challenge, and you can see my fall videos coming up after the challenge. I'm technically filming this on Tuesday instead of Monday of this week. I did film my vlog yesterday for Monday, but I never did my intro. Monday's book, the book that I will be reading today, is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I was so excited to get into this. I had a good time reading it. I don't want to spoil my thoughts on it, so let's just get on into the reading vlog. It is Monday night. I'm actually going to cheat and film the intro of this tomorrow. It's so late, and I've realized, I was like, what am I forgetting to do today? Girl, read my whole entire book. Ideally would have liked to be asleep in about 30 minutes. That's not happening. We are going to get ready for bed. We're gonna stay up a little later. I'm gonna just get comfy cozy and then we're gonna just read in bed. It's really not too late. Like, I definitely have enough time to start and finish a book, but I have to get on it. I do have to get on it, and once I start reading, I cannot stop. I had a brilliant and also really stupid, dumb idea. Instead of like a cutesy little romance late at night, I'm gonna read a thriller mystery. And I'm gonna finally read None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I do have work tomorrow and I need to wake up early, and I am going to regret this in the morning. Why am I reading a thriller at 9 p.m? Well, that's a good question. Thanks for asking. I feel like this is the only book that could potentially keep me awake out of sheer terror and fear. Thrillers and mysteries freak me out. We know this. You know this. If you're a subscriber at this point, you know this. I do read one or two. It does keep me awake because I'm like freaked out. Let's stop yapping. Let's read. Made it to page 50. I was right though. I was totally right. This is like keeping me awake because I want to just keep reading because I'm so intrigued. And also my mind is like racing. Even though I am sleepy, my mind is like racing reading this book because it says none of this is true. So I'm trying to figure out what is not true. And like even the smallest details, I'm like, is that true or is it not? Like, I'm like so on the edge of my seat, and I feel like I'm getting through this book quickly, which is good. These are all good things. I'm now on page 168. I just got to part 2 of the book. I don't know what's going on. Josie, the one that everyone thinks is lying, like she is weird. She's weird, but I can't tell if Lisa Jewell is just doing that on purpose, like making her a little strange so that you're less likely to believe her. I will say I am getting sleepy. I'm getting so tired, but I'm like halfway through. I feel like I could just like push it out. Like I think I need to just like try to stick out as long as freaking possible. Guys, I did it. I finished the book. Just know it was a 4 stars. And I'll talk to you about it in the morning. So like you guys saw, I did finish None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell last night. This was so good. It didn't scare me like thrillers normally do. Like normally I'm like up later after being like, oh my gosh, what? But it did keep my heart racing just enough to help me finish it. So I think this was like a good choice for sure. I loved it. I gave it a 4 stars. It just didn't have that 5-star feeling. I liked the ending a lot. I think it makes sense. I don't think it was as ambiguous. I guess it's ambiguous. I guess there's still like questions, you know, but for the most part, I feel like I have a side of like what I'm thinking and what I'm believing, you know? But at the same time, the title tells us none of this is true. So like you're ready for that twist somewhere in the book. There were like a few things here and there that I didn't love. Like I thought some of the characters lacked a little bit of depth, and I thought that there were certain scenarios where I'm like, whoa, I'm getting confused. It was done so well, don't get me wrong. There's just parts here and there where I was like, I know that this is supposed to be a big like, whoa, plot twist moment, but I was like, but didn't this happen this way? I mean, I guess that's, again, the point of the book. It's just like a little much for me. Like, it was a little complicated. Now, today, I will be reading Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy. I'm gonna just like start this before I go to work. I don't know how much I'm gonna get in because I'm still editing a video, so it just depends on how quickly I can edit. just finished the first chapter of Girl Abroad, but I had to like do an update because I am really loving this. Like I just literally said out loud, oh my god, I'm loving this, and realized like I'm not even filming. Like something I really like about Elle Kennedy is when she writes a different world, I mean, it's all our world. I'm pretty sure technically it's all in like the same world. But when she writes like a different setting, I feel like her writing evolves into something else. It's so interesting. Her hockey romances are all so distinct. And then her Avalon Bay series is so distinct from the hockey romances. Then this is just like a whole other thing now. And I'm like literally obsessed. This just feels so light and airy. Like in my head, all I can play in my head right now is London Boy by Taylor Swift. That song is what this book feels like. Like, I love this. This is not a spoiler, it's like on the back of the book. Basically, it's about a girl who's going to study abroad in London. She's from Nashville, and she thinks she's rooming with 3 girls because she's like, oh, with the time difference, we haven't been able to FaceTime. So I just read the part literally 10 pages in where she knocks on the door and a dude answers, and he's like, oh, you're Abby. And she's like, where are the girls? And he's like, what girls? It's almost like a sweet, charming aspect to this book that I don't normally find in Elle Kennedy. So like I'm loving this. I'm loving this. Rare Gina glasses moment here. I'm sorry if there's a glare, but I cannot see without these. I've made it like 80 pages into Girl Abroad. I'm still really enjoying this book. We have now been introduced to both of our love interests, but we only kind of really know one of them. So I feel like even though we're introduced to both of them, I feel like I know who it's gonna end up with. I feel like I know who she's gonna end up with. I just think I do. I like both of them. I feel like the story's going well, and I love her friendship with Lee. Oh my gosh, I love her friendship with Lee. I feel like romance beside, I really like all the characters in this book, which have been really great because I've also been reading Elle Kennedy's Avalon Bay series this summer, and my issue with those books is like I don't like any of the characters even though I like Elle Kennedy's writing. It's very refreshing to have a book by Elle Kennedy where I'm like, oh my god, I love all these characters. And she really does do good found family when you like the characters. So like the friend group in this, everyone's just so distinct, and I love that. So I am having a really good time with this book. I am starting to not like feel good, and I'm kind of scared. I don't know if it's just like allergies or what, but like I have like a little bit of a cough. So I'm a little nervous about that. I'm gonna lay in bed. I'm gonna read as much of this book as I can get through tonight. Because I'm not feeling good, I might be nice to myself and fall asleep and finish this in the morning. So I will still be like reading 7 books this week and like 60 books in 60 days. I'd rather rest and feel better in the morning than like stay up and continue to feel icky, you know? So good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday. It is Wednesday, July 31st. I did not finish my book yesterday. Like I said, I was just not feeling good last night. I feel a lot better now, but I was like having like a cough and some like nasal issues, and now I'm fine. So I think it was just allergies, but the fear of getting sick was like, I need to just go to sleep. So I didn't finish, but I still made it like pretty far into it. I got to page 140, chapter 18, and I'm still really liking it. I don't really have any like new developments. I feel like I still have to continue on like knowing the characters and seeing who I prefer her with. I kind of prefer her with one person. We'll see where she ends up. I am liking the story nonetheless. Like I said, I just really love like the found family aspect in here. Like this is so much fun. I like everyone, which is kind of rare for an Elle Kennedy book. Usually there's a character in an Elle Kennedy book where I'm like, oh, I just don't like this person. We are going to finish this book literally right now. I have a lot of time this morning to just like sit and read. So like that's the vibe, that's the goal. I'm gonna sit in my bed, I'm gonna read, I'm gonna finish this book, and I'll update you when I finish it. But when I'm done with this book, I'm still reading 60 books in 60 days. So because I missed this book and I was behind on this book today, I will still be starting another one, and I'm gonna be starting Behind the Net, which I am so excited about. I've seen people give this like 5 stars, which is like crazy to me. I feel like for romances, just like contemporary romances, it's kind of rare to see like the general consensus be 5 stars, 4 stars, things like that. I'm really hoping I don't like overhype it in my head though, and then I'm disappointed. Like I don't want to do that. I've had a development with one of the boys, but I still think the other one is gonna be like the main love interest. I just feel it. I just feel it in my bones. And also there are like totally a ton of hints that the other one's the love interest, and I'm kind of liking it. Normally I don't like really care for the love triangle. Like I don't dislike it, but I don't really like, genuinely I'm indifferent to it. I feel like the good way to do a love triangle is to where there's still enough tension between like the romantic parties, but we know who she's gonna end up with. Shock. utter shock and horror. Oh, I can't say why my mouth is agape, but like seriously, I read a part right now and went, I love this book. Hello everyone, I did finish Girl Abroad this morning. So again, technically didn't finish this book in a day, but I did what I could do because I was not feeling good last night. I think what I realized is I've been lighting my candle every day and I'm not gonna stop doing that, but it definitely I think was just I had the candle lit for too long. I actually finished this like this morning, like around like 10 a.m. I finished it really early and then I just had a lot to edit and like things to do. I was supposed to have work and then things got canceled, so I didn't. I haven't had time to start today's book yet. It is like a little later. It's still light outside, but like it's kind of dusk right now, you know? So tough to start today's book, but let's talk about Girl Abroad. I absolutely like love this book. I had such a good time. This felt different than Elle Kennedy's other things, but not in a bad way at all. I love Elle Kennedy as it is. I feel like her writing is just really easy and digestible. I don't know if this book is gonna be a series. I don't know if she's gonna do other things in this world, but I just love this. I loved it. There was just such a sweet undertone. It was so cute. It was so fun. I saw a Goodreads comment that was like, I need this to be a Netflix movie, and I agree. Like that literally would eat so bad. It does get a little deeper like here and there, but it is just overall a fun story. And she did end up with who I wanted her to end up with, which I don't think I ever said, so it's okay for me to say that. But I think it was kind of hinted that she was gonna end up with this guy anyway, you know? Like I love this. Normally I don't like love triangles, but like I said, I think Elle Kennedy did this well, where you like both characters, but she just clearly is suited better for one of them. So Girl Abroad was a 4 stars and it was our 30th book. This book marked the halfway mark in this challenge. That is crazy. This is all my books I've read this month. It is July 31st. This is the best reading month I've ever had in terms of quantity, but I would say quality as well, but that might just be because I read 30 books, you know, so it's kind of a given that some of them are gonna be hit. All I wanna do is like sit in my living room and read and watch YouTube, so until I start getting tired, I'm gonna start reading Behind the Net. I am so excited about this, but I'm also very nervous because it's so hyped up that I'm almost afraid it's gonna be like overhyped. I feel like I don't normally see a lot of people give a hockey romance 5 stars, you know, like I'll see people give them like 3.5 to 4, but like a 5 star for a hockey romance feels like a lot for me. I don't know much about it. I just remember it started trending in like January, February time, and I meant to read it then and I just didn't get to it. So I'm excited to finally get to it now. Let's get started with Behind the Net. I'm literally only like 17 pages into this book. I just like had to say I was a little hesitant because basically, as soon as I started reading it, I did realize, oh, I do know the synopsis of this book. I just had like forgotten it since the hype died down. Basically, they knew each other in high school, but they weren't friends because she thought that he didn't like her because she was like the band kid. He just got like weird around her, so she just always assumed like, oh, he doesn't like me. Like he never did anything mean. He was just like kind of like standoffish. So she's like, oh, he hates me. But it's because he has had like a huge crush on her since high school. And then the story now takes place in the future. He's a professional hockey player now, and he gets a dog, and he basically is like, I need someone to take care of this dog and kind of just like do my tasks. So he hires this girl and doesn't realize it's Pippa, our female main character, and she shows up at his door. And I was nervous because in the second chapter, it's her point of view. He's being so like rude to her. At least that's what I was seeing because that's what she was seeing. But then it switches to his point of view the next chapter, and it's like literally he's like, I can't breathe. Like I'm so nervous. I have such a big crush on this girl, and now all my feelings from high school are coming back. And like I was like, oh my god, I get it. I get it. We'll see if I continue to like this book. Like I said, a little hesitant until I got to the 3rd chapter. Then I was like, oh, I'm sad. I'm eating it up. So we will see. We will see. I'm only 17 pages in. I just had to give that update because I was like, oh. I'm like 100 pages, pretty much exactly 105 pages into Behind the Net. I'm still like really enjoying it. It is like a cute, fun hockey romance. I will say like this is definitely not gonna be a 5 stars, but it's not bad by any means. Like I still think this could be like 4-star territory depending on how the next like 250 pages go, you know? Like so I'm like still holding out hope. The big thing for me right now is I do think our male main character has a personality. Like I said, he just gets shy guy around our female main character and like tenses up. This is where it's hard. It's written well because between point of views, like the perspective switches, which is how it would be in real life. And I feel like a lot of authors don't do that for like convenience sake, you know? But in his point of view, of course, he's like in love with this girl. And in her point of view, she's like, he's just like a dude who doesn't like me very much, and like that's kind of what like we're still getting from him for her. Overall, I feel like our male main character has like the personality of a rock. I almost wonder as he opens up to her and as he starts like expressing his feelings if we're gonna get like more personality from him. I did finish Behind the Net yesterday. I really enjoyed this book. It was fun, it was cute, I liked both of our characters. I did end up liking our male main character Jamie a little more. I didn't dislike him necessarily, but he was just boring to me at first. But I was right. His character did pick up as he like opened up to her. I wasn't getting like the 5-star feelings that everyone else did, so I'm gonna just like throw that out there. But that doesn't mean anything. Like, it was still a really, really good book. I definitely would recommend if you want like a fun romance. I will say is like a little spicier, to the point where I was like just kind of skimming those chapters because I'm like, this is too much for me right now. But if you like spice, there's a recommendation. If you don't like spice, I would stay away from this. So I just, the only reason I even mention it is because I know it's like a very divisive thing for people in books. You might be like, cool, I'm gonna pick this up right now, or you might be like, oh, I'm never gonna read that because it is quite spicy for a hockey romance. I was like, oh my god. But yeah, I gave it a 4 stars. Like, it was fun, it was cute. I definitely think I want to like reread this at some point during like the fall, maybe winter time. I don't know about fall. I have a huge fall TBR, which that video is coming this month. So maybe winter. I think this would be like a fun book to read around that time. I don't know why, because I don't even think any of it really takes place in the fall or winter. Like, it doesn't specify, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, but it just like gave me like fun, like cute wintry romance vibes. So I am now going to start The Summer Girl. I do have to go to work, and then once I go to work, I have like a full work day, and then I am going to meet my friend for dinner. I'm gonna start this book, and then I think I'm gonna audiobook the heck out of this. It is much later, like much later. I am pretty sleepy, but I did get to, what page am I even at for this book? I got to page, wow, 254, chapter 23. The reason I haven't updated so far is because truly, like, this book just, I have nothing to say. Like, I have nothing to say about this book. I even thought about like just like telling you when I finished, but I was like, no, like I want them to see that I read it in the day, you know? Just like, it's not bad. I definitely like it more than the other 2 books in the series, and I feel like a lot of people might really enjoy this. This is great if you want just like a cute, fun summer romance, but it's like nothing more than that. Just like, it's just all right. The cover is super cute, at least, but I don't know. Like, there's just nothing really that I have to say about this. It's really just like your run-of-the-mill summer romance book. Hi. My last update was Thursday. It's Sunday. I feel like I'm like in confessional right now. Let's just get it out. I've missed 3 days. The only other time I've missed 3 days is when I've been extremely busy. Before we get into the reason why, let's talk about The Summer Girl, because I never updated. I did finish this though. I did finish this on Thursday, and I did enjoy this more than the other books in the series, but I just never connected to the characters. Like, that was the main issue here. It's like, I enjoyed it more than the other one. The other books in this series, the Avalon Bay series, I just didn't like the characters. Like, I just hated them all. I enjoyed the characters in these, but I just didn't care about their relationship at all. So although it was a good, cute, easy summer romance, I still only gave it 3 stars. And that was kind of being generous. And the only reason I gave this a 3 stars is because the other books were like 2.5 stars, and that feels right. But this doesn't feel like right to rate it a 2 star, because at the end of the day, I still enjoyed it. I just like wasn't connected to these characters. A part of me though thinks that that is not necessarily the book's fault. And I will get into that in a second. But let's talk about books. That's what you're here for. Let's talk about books before I start getting into like my feelings and stuff, you know? So I was then supposed to read Jana Goes Wild on Friday. I did start this. I read exactly like 100 pages of this book. I am enjoying this book a lot. Now that I think about it, I've technically only missed 2 days. The book that I missed was Outlawed. I do need to read this. I do want to get into it. I am going to read it still because it's still 60 books in 60 days. My plan is to finish Jana Goes Wild, start and finish Outlawed, and then finish My Favorite Half Night Stand. Like I said, baby, it's still 60 books in 60 days. We're still reading 60 books in 60 days. Let's talk about why I didn't read. The last time this happened in this challenge, this has only happened one other time. I'm on week 5. I'm already well into the challenge. I've already gotten to the halfway point of 60 books in 60 days, you know? So I'm proud of myself that this has only happened one other time. But the other time it happened, it was because I was incredibly busy. The reason I missed 3 books, technically 2, I guess, the reason I missed 2 books this week was not because I was busy. I was a little busier the last 2 days. Don't get me wrong, Friday and Saturday were crazy. I am feeling slumpy. Oh no! Obviously, I read like 31 books for every day of July. That could make someone feel slumpy. I know there's like these aspects, but it's not the reading. I think like I want to sit and read, but I don't want to read summer books. I don't want to read summer books anymore. And I'm finishing my summer TBR. Normally, August 1st is my indication for it's fall time. I know it is not. I know seasonally, it's still very much summer. But in my head, how I've always grown up is like August 1st is the start of fall, and fall's my favorite. Like, it's like ridiculous how much I love fall time, you know? So this year, since I'm finishing my summer TBR and I'm doing this challenge, and I've never finished a seasonal TBR that I set for myself, which if you're new here, my seasonal TBRs that I set are like a part of my large physical TBR, but I will take books from my physical TBR, put them on my seasonal TBR, and then that's my priority. Like, those books are the ones that I want to get to within the 3 months that I have of whatever season it is. I really do want to finish my summer TBR. Like, this is a non-negotiable for me. I want to do this. I want to get these books off my physical TBR. That's the point of the challenge. I'm just not in the mood for them because August 1st hit and my mind went to fall. I want it to be fall. I don't want to be reading The Summer Girl, and that's why I think I had issues with this book. It wasn't the book. I just was not in the vibes for a summer beach read. Like, and that's just my issue. So I'm in this weird dilemma where I want to give these books a fair shot, but I also just want to get to my fall TBR already. Like, I want to do fall because I promised myself that I wouldn't start decorating for fall and I wouldn't start listening to my fall music, lighting my fall candles, like getting into the vibes of fall until I finished my summer TBR. All of it is so dumb, but that is the issue that I was having with these books. I just didn't want to pick them up because I was like, I want the fall vibes and these are all very summery. Oh my god, it's so stupid. I'm just so seasonal. My mind has always been like put into boxes. I love organization. I love compartments. And if I'm in the fall vibe, I don't want to be reading summer books. I feel like these books that I am holding in my hand right now, these 3 are my most summer coded reads. They might not be necessarily summery like Outlawed, you know, but they're the most summer coded reads that I have left on my summer TBR. And the other ones that I have like for next week, you guys will see in next week's video. My short for my TBR for next week should be already posted. You guys should have already seen that. And if you haven't, you could go look at my shorts. It'll have my TBR for the next week that I'm about to talk about. But that TBR, it's still like they were books on my summer TBR, but they're not super summery. So I feel like next week I'll be fine. It's just reading my last 3 like super summer coded books that is like bothering me. I'm gonna stop yapping because I clearly need time to read. I'm gonna finish Jana Goes Wild and we'll talk about it in just a second. Okay, I finished Jana Goes Wild. I have a lot to say about this book. I know I didn't say much because I was in the midst of having like a shameful confessional moment about not reading for 2 days, but I was enjoying it. Like, I think the last thing I said was like, oh, I'm enjoying this. This is good. The first like 100 pages, I did enjoy. It was like regular romance setup. I liked both of our characters, liked past tense being keyword. I liked them both. Basically, like, this book starts off and they're like in the midst of like this really passionate relationship that was like really short, kind of like a fling almost, but it was like a relationship. That was the intention. They ended up breaking up because our male main character, already getting points deducted, was cheating on his girlfriend with her, or maybe his wife. She obviously breaks it off and she's heartbroken, and then she finds out she's pregnant, and then the book starts. That's like the prologue, chapter 1 type thing, right? It's 5 years later, she has her kid and they're co-parenting, and like he knows about the kid. Like they've been co-parenting the whole time, but they like don't really interact because of that moment. And now they have both been invited to a bridal party thing because 2 of their friends are getting married. So that's where the story kind of like goes. In the first 100 pages, I was like, okay, this is like standard romance setup. I thought it was a rom-com. It's not, but that's not why I didn't end up liking this. Like, it was good. Like, it was well written. I'm gonna give it that. Like, it is more of an emotional romance, but after the first 100 pages, like, the miscommunication was just off the charts, like so off the charts. Basically what repeated on a cycle until like the last 30 pages of the book, it was like our female main character would assume something about our male main character, not give him the chance to explain anything, be like, I don't want to see you, and then the male main character would explain finally, and then he would be like, rightfully so, would be like, hey, you were really hot-headed and you didn't even give me a chance to explain, like, I don't want to deal with this. And it just went back and forth, and all of a sudden that didn't happen. They were like, we're in love. I don't normally get bothered by the miscommunication trope. This book like almost was frustrating. Like I was almost frustrated to read this. These people should not be together. I just ended up not liking this. Like I was just really frustrated. The writing's not bad. I could see a lot of people enjoying this. I do think people might enjoy this if you're looking for more of an emotional, realistic romance. But at the end of the day, I just didn't really like this book. Like I just didn't really like it. It just frustrated me, and I thought our characters were annoying at the end of the day, and I didn't like them together, and I'm gonna give it a 2.5. And I feel bad, but I'm gonna give it a 2.5. Like it just was not my thing. It was just not my thing. Our next book of the day is gonna be Outlawed. This one's like fairly short, but I'm interested in it. I think it's more of a lit fic. I believe it's about like a fugitive girl in the 1800s. Like she's like 16 and she becomes an outlaw. I just enjoy the whole like Western cowboy setting. I've always liked that as like a setting for like a backdrop, so I'm interested in that. I'm interested to see what I think. Let's get reading. I finished Out Loud. I got ready for bed. I really don't know how I feel about it. I'm so perplexed on a rating, and I was like reading through the Goodreads reviews, not to like influence myself, but I enjoy reading through them after I've already like kind of set a rating usually, because I like to see what other people are thinking. It's almost like a conversation for me. Like my favorite class in high school was English. I loved Socratic seminars. That's why I started this channel. I love having conversations about books. I was like looking through them, and there were some really good points about like how it's boring, how there's like a lot of exposition, how some of it is just a little like problematic, and I'm like, yeah, like I agree with all these things. But then I'm sitting and I'm like, I don't know, like a part of me enjoyed aspects of it, and that's like what's hard. It's just the actual story I was so bored with. And I don't want to call it slice of life, because it wasn't like a slice of life in the way you think, but it was just like slice of life for this girl's life. It's like an overarching plot, but for a 250-page book, a lot of it, like, yeah, it like revolved around that plot, but it also just felt like random like little cowboy-y scenarios thrown in there. Maybe it's just a matter of expectation, because I was expecting like a like super action-packed like cowboy lit fic, that like type of thing, and this wasn't that, but it was still like good. Like it wasn't bad, it still had those Western vibes. It just like wasn't what I was expecting. Right now I have it at a 3 stars, just like as a neutral opinion, but it honestly might be a 2. Like I don't know. Normally like my ratings are a feeling for me. I rate based off of vibes, baby. Normally my rating is a feeling. Like I could feel that this book is like a 4 stars, or I feel that this book is a 2 stars. This, nah, I have no idea. Like it's just out of my mind. So I'm gonna start and finish my favorite half night stand in bed really quick. It's not too long, but it's long enough to where I'll be up for the next few hours still. Like it's 360-ish pages. I'm probably gonna be up for longer than I want to be. It's already kind of late, so I'm gonna just get to reading and stop yapping. I'm like really liking this. I'm like really liking this book. This is what I needed. This is what I needed. First of all, the characters are so good. Like Christina Lauren books, like I said, I feel like they're either like hits or misses. This, like, oh my gosh, all the characters already are just so like jumping off the page. Like they all have such strong personalities. I was afraid of them not having strong personalities, because the last one I read was a soulmate equation, and I thought the man in that book was like the equivalent of a cardboard box. This though, like both the characters are like just so themselves. I also love like the friend group dynamic in here. I just love it. It is like making me smile and giggle and laugh, and it's just silly and fun, and it's totally giving like that fun found family already. As of right now, it is friends to lovers, but I have a feeling I have a feeling it says my favorite half night stand. I have a feeling it's gonna bring some tension into it. Friends to lovers is not my favorite trope. Like, I'm gonna just come out and say it. I think it's just like boring, or it's done weirdly, and I don't know what it is. Like, it's just not something that I normally enjoy. This, on the other hand, is like so fun. Like, both of these characters are like so cutesy, and like I really like them, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm rooting for them. So I finished my favorite half night stand last night. I ended up really enjoying this book. There's only like one slight aspect at the beginning that I think is like borderline problematic, and I don't know if I should say it or not because I don't know if it's a spoiler. It was like strange to me, but at the end of the day, like, the book was fine. The characters didn't have issues with it, so I was like, slay, cool. I ended up really liking this. Like I said, I don't normally like friends to lovers, but this was done well because it did add that tension. There was also an aspect of like almost like a catfish scenario in here, which I really liked. Not almost, it was. Our female main character like set up a dating profile. This is not a spoiler, it's the plot of the book. She and her best friend have a little moment. She then has like all these like dilemmas about dating, and so she goes and she sets up a dating profile, but she like doesn't want to put her real name out there. She ends up like making like a fake profile, but it's still her. It's just like the name and pictures aren't her. And it ends up that her friend finds a dating profile not knowing it's her, and they match. And then like it's like that back and forth between there. So there's like a lot of mixed media in here. I really like the friend group and the found family in here. It was really interesting, and it did like keep the plot moving along, and I feel like that is why I enjoyed this book when I don't normally enjoy this trope. It was a good way to end out the week because this week was just like, you guys saw, this week was like not my best reading week. It was probably like not like the worst week of the challenge because that makes it sound bad. I still read 7 books. I don't want to act like, oh my gosh, no, but like my point is that I felt more slumpy this week. I'm really just waiting for those fall reads. It's starting to get cloudy here. Not cold at all, not cold at all, but we're getting some clouds, and it's really making me want to go and curl up with a good fall book. So I am getting all my summer books out of the way this next upcoming week, so at least we have that. Because of that, this week, because I was feeling those fall vibes and still reading my summer TBR, I feel like it just kind of made me feel like slumpy. I just realized I didn't tell you what I rated this. I gave it like a 3.75, technically 4 stars. I'm kind of on the fence. It was good, it was fun. I don't know how like memorable it's gonna be for me, but I did really enjoy myself and I enjoyed my time reading it. I also hit the halfway mark of the challenge this week, which is crazy. This is going to be the 5th reading vlog coming up. We're slowly coming to the end of the series. If this is the first reading vlog you're seeing though, you could go ahead down below. There's a playlist link down below that has all the reading vlogs. They're all spoiler free like this one, as well as it's linked at the end of the video in the title screen. So look out for that. If you're new here, I'd love to have you subscribe, stick around. You can see how I finish out this challenge, if I'm actually able to do it. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. With that, I will see you guys all on Sunday for our new video of the week. Okay, bye guys.